Hi guys, welcome back to another video, and if you're new, welcome. In the last one, I told you how you can ace your Spanish paper 1 CSEC, and in this video, I'll be telling you how you can ace the paper 2, so definitely watch until the end to hear all of the tips that helped me to get a distinction and that can help you as well. And without further ado, let's get into the video. You already know what to do, you already know that you're supposed to like and subscribe. As a matter of fact, you're already subscribed. You've already liked the video because you know what to do. First, you need to know the structure of the paper. So you know that you have 4 sections. Section 1 is the free response where you get a prompt and you respond to it in 1 sentence. Section 2, you have a letter to write, I think in 130 words. Section 3, 80 to 100 words, you have a contextual dialogue where they give you a part that's already written and you have to respond to it. And then section 4, where you have a reading comprehension where you read a passage and you answer questions based on that. So now that you're familiar with the paper, you already know what you're getting, so you can prepare effectively, which is what this video is for. Firstly, I would advise you to do the reading comprehension first because you can pick up important vocabulary there to use on the other sections. And it's also the easiest because one, a thing to know. My teacher put me onto this and she was absolutely right. The questions are in the order in which they appear in the passage. So the questions aren't mixed up. So once you read and answer a question, the answer for the next one is in the next line. Or they may be both in the same line, but they're right after each other. So that's a thing to know. And you should also read the questions first. The question gives you what to look for, and sometimes question 3 might have the answer to question 2. So definitely read the questions first and do them in order so that you can maximize your points in this area. Also, I'd advise you to use context clues. So if they're at the beach, you know what they'll be doing at the beach. Well, you don't know for sure, but you have the context, so you'll be able to guess more effectively. Also, don't leave anything out. Sometimes they'll ask you, what did Sarah and Paul do at the beach? If you saw that they swam all morning, don't put that they swam. No, put they swam all morning or swam from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Whatever they give you, put it back. Don't leave anything out or you will get marked down. Now, don't put irrelevant details or things they didn't ask for, but definitely answer the question fully. The next tip is to ensure that you know your grammar rules, how to place your accent, and how to spell. This was my biggest downfall because I wouldn't put my accent. I didn't do that on the paper. I actually fixed it and I didn't know how to spell my words properly. But once my teacher clocked that T and said, "Girl, you need to get it together." She didn't actually say that, but she said, "Yeah, you can't do that. They will mark you down." I had to get on my game. So do whatever you can to know your rules, to know how to place your accents, watch YouTube videos on it. Especially in the free response section, you can lose a lot of marks by simply spelling a word wrong. And if you don't use your accent, you're spelling the word wrong. If your grammar is not up there, then you know when you're writing a passage in English and if your grammar is not there, then you're going to get marked down for it. It's the same thing in Spanish. So please pay attention to this in all parts of the paper. Next, you need to know your tenses, especially with the irregular verbs. This is going to be so helpful in the free response section where you'd probably have to use things like the subjunctive tense. In the letter, you'll definitely have to use a past tense, a future tense, and possibly the imperfect tense. So know all your tenses. Don't just know your present tense because that will not take you through the paper. You need to know everything. So ensure that you're making your flashcards, doing all of that to know all your tenses because you're going to need it. A thing that helped me was to make flashcards. So I wrote out the conjugations for each tense on one flashcard, and on the back of the card I would put, because irregular verbs don't follow the regular conjugations, I'd put some common irregular verbs and how they're conjugated in that specific tense. So that could definitely help you. And guys, this is so evil, but it's true. The verbs that you need to use the most are the irregular ones. I kid you not. Because why are all the verbs I need irregular? So that's just extra work. But if I did it, if I was able to overcome that, then you definitely can as well. The next tip is to know your expressions. So you know how we Jamaicans extra ought to be like, ee. Wow, in Spanish they have that as well. So things like que raro, how strange, or que sorpresa, how surprising. They have things like that. And I found that once you put que in front of everything and then you put your little exclamation marks and then you put a word after that, it can make a phrase. So that's a little trick that I use, and you have to use things like that to sound natural. Definitely know those expressions. You should also use them in the contextual dialogue to sound natural, like you're a natural speaker, because ultimately they're testing your ability to use the language. So they're not just seeing how many words you know. No, you have to actually use it, put it to use, please. The next tip is to sound natural and use your transitions. Yes, they have transitions in Spanish. If you don't know any, go check them out. I'll give you one here, and it's entonces, which means then. Use your transitions. They pay attention to things like these. They want to know that you understand how to use the language and how to communicate effectively. So you definitely need to use your transitions. And if you fall short in a part of the paper, this will definitely make a difference. The next tip is to respond to everything and answer what they ask. Ensure that you respond to every single question, but not just answer the people them question and answer foolishness. No, pay keen attention to what they're asking for and answer that. Also, it's very common to be so relieved that you've answered a question and you don't even realize that there's a part two or that there's a next part, especially in the letter. So please, please, please pay attention. It does happen, and ensure that you're answering everything and you're answering what they asked. So now go put where you think they might ask you. Please answer what they ask. The next tip is to manage your time properly. I know that it might seem like you don't have enough time and you have to do all of these sections, but don't spend too much time on a question. If you realize that you're stuck, move on and come back. And if it gets to a point where time is running out, put something. No, not just put one bag of foolishness, but put something reasonable. Something, I was just going to say responsible, but that doesn't make sense. But you get what I'm saying. Put something what makes sense, but definitely manage your time properly. And it doesn't make sense to spend all your time on a question you don't know when you could be doing something that you're good at and something that you're sure you'll get your marks on. So I know I said to start with the reading comprehension, but truth is just start where your strongest area is and then work from there. Finally, I want you to just calm down. CSEC is not the end of the world. Trust. I have been there and I made it through, and you're going to make it as well. The fact that you're watching this video shows that you really want to do well, and where there's a will, there is a way. As my favorite phrase in Spanish goes, querer es poder. Where there's a will, there's a way. So just do your best to prepare and mash up the paper. Period. Before I go, here are some channels that really helped me to prepare for my Spanish paper 2. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful and subscribe to see more of me. And please, magona the little video, magona the little tips. Subscribe. I know that you don't want me to go, and I know that you'll miss me so much after this video, but while you're waiting for the next one, feel free to watch these, and I'll see you in the next video.